It's hard to realize you may need to move on from clients. And I think sometimes people think, oh, I'm going to have to fire all my current clients and then get new clients. And no, that's not what you do. This is a process that happens over time. You maybe like look at your clients right now. I also love the 80-20 rule. So probably 20% of your clients are causing 80% of the problems.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to The Successful Bookkeeper. I am your host, Michael Palmer, and I have another special treat for you this week. You're about to listen to part 2 of our interview with the founder of BizChix, Natalie Eckdahl. In this episode, Natalie talks about why you should focus on niching your bookkeeping business instead of being a generalist, and much, much more. Enjoy the conversation. I love some of these mindset issues. It's over the years, hearing them come up, things like you said, bookkeepers are very caring people. Mm-hmm. I find they're very caring. They're also very curious, and they want to help, and they want to solve problems. And those three things can be, if you see a new client, it's like, oh, I want to help them. I want to solve their problems and figure out why it's not working or what the issue is. Be very technical, get in and fix those issues. But those are counter to what you would want in your business, because you wouldn't want just any client. You would want the very best client and the clients that match you. And then also I've seen a lot of this scarcity, as you mentioned, where if you think about it, if I have low prices, I need lots of clients.
Right.
And so a niche, the mentality of a niche is like, oh, there won't be enough clients because I need to charge this much, or I need to have this many clients in order to make this much money. And I won't be able to do it in a niche because niche is smaller and I need bigger. And it's kind of like that Walmart idea, which is a losing game for any small, medium-sized business to play the Walmart lowest price game, because it's not the business that we're in. We need few clients, charge premium, be an expert, and everything you've said is actually counter, their mindset is counter to that.
It is. It's completely counterintuitive to, when you're from the outside looking in, you'd be like, that doesn't make sense. But what's amazing is it's magical. When you niche, you become very referable. And I'm an Uber connector. I have a feeling you are too, Michael. So I am constantly connecting people to one another, and it brings me so much joy. If someone was telling me they were looking for a bookkeeper, I would want to understand, what kind of bookkeeper, tell me more about your business. I'm not going to refer a generalist. I'm going to refer a specialist. So if, say, an interior designer comes to me and saying, Natalie, things have gotten to be a mess. My current bookkeeper doesn't really understand my business. Do you have anyone you could recommend? I actually do, because I know a bookkeeper who only works with interior designers. So I wouldn't even think of anyone else but her to make that connection with. So my mind is always trying to think, how can I make the best referral for this person? I want to make the best connection possible. When people are generalists, they kind of float to the bottom in my mind, because I don't quite know who they are a best fit for. And I'm trying to make these amazing connections.
Absolutely. It's challenging, and the human mind can't do everything. It can do very, very narrow. It can grab onto narrow things. So when you say interior designers, we're going to remember that. Our listeners remembering that right now, bookkeeper for interior designers. So even when you're out and about, if listener, you're out and about and you say, well, I do bookkeeping for everyone, nobody's going to remember that. But if you say I'm a bookkeeper for HVAC companies, they're going to remember that.
Oh, yes. It is. It's so powerful, because now when I meet someone and we have rapport, I am filing them away in my mind for the future. So if I have an HVAC guy come to my house, which I actually need right now, Michael, I notice that things are a little messy in how they're doing the back end of their business. I might say, could I just share with you, I have this incredible bookkeeper that focuses on your industry, and you might want to give them a call, or would it be okay if I connect you via email? So it's so powerful to niche by industry. And you can also specialize by the type of work you do, and you can say no to things. So I think as bookkeepers, they feel like they have to do everything that someone asks them to do. And you can choose not to, right? You can say, I'm not going to do payroll, or I'm only going to do this part of bookkeeping, or we don't do accounts payable or accounts receivable. You can decide, you can add those things in, or you can take them away. And so that's specializing what you do. And the key is to not be a generalist. I think if there's one message that people take away from this, I would want them to remember that being a generalist it may feel safe for now, but it's really, you're not going to be able to grow and create this enduring business that I'm talking about that's enjoyable, profitable, and sustainable. By sustainable, I mean, not by enjoyable, it's yes, you want to do it. It's a passion. You love it. You love what you do. But sustainable it's work you can do ongoing, as like physically, mentally, and with your time. And when you start to niche by industry, you might bring in certain software. Things can get faster. That you might be, the same work is faster because it's all the same type of client. And when you hire, and here's the key, is when you hire, is this really matters. As a business owner, you have a certain acumen that you come to the table with. And often I find that entrepreneurs assume that whoever they hire is just like them, that they are a replica of them and they can do all the things that the owner can do themselves. You might bring in someone that it's a struggle for them to understand, okay, when I'm working with this client, there's these rules, and this industry, this is how we need to set things up so that their books are done, how they can use them most, or how their CPA wants it set up. And that could be difficult for some when we're hiring and building a team to ask people to also be generalists. Whereas if you are a specialist, and say, staying with this example of, and her name is Natalie Spears, I want to just give her a shout out, who's the bookkeeper for interior designers. Her company is called Vintage Gray. The way interior designers run their businesses is they're often a service business and a product business because they're doing markup on the product. So their bookkeeping can be different. And if that's all that company is doing, bringing someone in, they're training them on, the bookkeeping and this industry knowledge as well. So it has so much more to do with just like raising your prices. It just makes your business more simple and easier to build team as well.
It's that time of year again, and after a great showing in 2021, the Successful Bookkeeper Summit returns even bigger and better. It's a 2-day virtual conference that features incredible speakers from the bookkeeping, accounting, and business worlds, such as value pricing expert Ron Baker and Joe Woodard of the Woodard Group. And that's just to name a few. The theme of this year's event is Make It Grow. And there's no doubt the content you'll consume will help you achieve more success than you ever thought possible. It all begins on November 9th, 2022. To secure your free spot, visit thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com/summit. And again, that's thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com/summit. Register today, and I'll see you at the summit. And now, let's get back to our interview. Oh yeah, I agree. There's people, I've met many that are generalists that have done really well and run their business really well, but it's a more complex business. They've had to do a whole bunch of really tightrope walking to make it work really well. But the ones that do the niche, it's almost like a booster jet to get them where they want to go up to this, as you say, like into an enduring business. It's like a booster jet, and it can be so powerful in so many ways. Like you said, it's more efficient. It's faster to be an expert. There's all sorts of production efficiencies that come into play. And that expertise is so valuable. I mean, it doesn't take long to understand. Like let's go back to the HVAC. I'm an HVAC person. I'm going to have certain characteristics. I've got certain background. They're a lot alike. If you've met an HVAC person, you've probably met quite a few of them.
Yes.
Birds of a feather flock together. So even from the humanistic side of things, you're going to be able to deal and know. It's like kind of this predictability in the business. And who wants chaos? Who wants, I don't know what's going to happen to my business tomorrow. It's like, some people want that to have like a chaotic life, but I think most and many want to have a predictable business where they show up and it's like, yeah, I know what's going to happen today. I know that they're going to come in and your personality might, you'll fit. Like if you like working with HVAC people and your personality fits with theirs, perfect, but maybe not. Maybe veterinarians are better fit for your personality. So there's all of that leads to, I think, a more enjoyable time. And if we go back to your enduring business model, it's like enjoyable's massive, right?
Mm-hmm.
So love this conversation on the niche. And there are lots of barriers, lots of them mental, but all of them overcomable for sure.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And just like one little final thing to think about, let's take this HVAC person. Sometimes I see people posting on social media, all the channels, right? And their client isn't there. So an HVAC guy, is he on LinkedIn? Is he even spending much time on, and we're saying he, because I think the majority of HVAC people I've ever met are men. Are they on social media at all? Is that the best place to reach them? Maybe there's some other forum or some other, channel that is a better place to reach that type of client. For interior designers, their work is very visual, so they tend to be on Instagram. So if you're a bookkeeper for interior designers, your social media platform, you should be on Instagram. That would be very important for you to be there. For many of our clients, LinkedIn is one of the most important platforms. And so that's where they are spending a lot of their time, and that's where they're creating community and sharing their thought leadership. But again, it's so counterintuitive. But once you get to the other side, if you'll trust us, it just works. It works for everyone I've ever tried to help do this. It works, and it creates a simpler business that also ends up being more profitable.
So true. So true. And you've got a great quote, which is, the clients that got you here may not be the clients that get you there. I love that.
Mm-hmm. It's hard to realize you may need to move on from clients. And I think sometimes people think, oh, I'm going to have to fire all my current clients and then get new clients. And no, that's not what you do. This is a process that happens over time. You maybe look at your clients right now. I also love the 80-20 rule. So probably 20% of your clients are causing 80% of the problems. That's the Pareto principle.
Absolutely.
And so if you can at least look at that 20% that's causing 80% of the problems, and taking up the most of your time because they are texting you on the weekends. And when you first started, you gave everybody your phone number, and now you don't do that anymore, but they still have it and they use it freely like they did in the old days. So maybe you start with them and let them go. And another thing I would say is sometimes people think, especially bookkeepers, because they're so heart-centered, they feel like they have to find another bookkeeper for that person. So it's not your job to find another service provider for anyone else. Everyone is an adult and can find their own help. So even though you're letting go of someone, if you have a referral for them, great, but it's not your job to find them someone else to work with them.
It's a big piece. I think that right there is a big piece of many of the problems. It's part of undercharging clients, the expectations that our bookkeeper is putting on themselves in terms of what they need to deliver in order to charge certain rates is way out of whack. Mm-hmm. And even that one piece is like, oh, I have to make sure that my PETA client has land softly. It's like love the care, definitely honorable, and I love that about our audience. They're very caring, very loyal, good people. They want to help people, and that's great, but not at the expense of your own health and well-being and freedom journey, because that doesn't work either. And so it has been funny over the years. Even just talking about getting rid of clients can be a sore spot because they feel almost like they're responsible for them, that they're their family, that they
Mm-hmm.
have this really responsibility to make sure that they're okay. And when we're talking about building a business, the business it's not the way that it works.
It's not. And it doesn't, this can be done in a way that feels okay to both parties. So your client's going to resist. They don't want change. No one wants change. Even anyone thinking about specializing or niching, that is change. So we're kind of, programmed and set up to resist change. So they are not going to choose to leave, but it's your business. And the reason that I love helping women create these boundaries and make these changes and shifts in their business is because I want them to stay in business. And that's why I'm so passionate about the enduring business, is that if you're not enjoying your business, if you're working with a bunch of clients that drive you crazy and that you don't like and you wouldn't even want to have dinner with, that does not make sense. This is your business. And so it's not required that you work with people that you don't enjoy. Like, that's the positive of having your own business. And yeah, and if you don't think about each of those pillars, is it enjoyable? Is it profitable? Is it sustainable? Then you're not going to stay in business, and then you're going to need to be doing something else. So my whole goal is to help women stay in business as long as they would like to, and to make more profit and to create wealth for themselves and their families.
Wonderful. And fully agree. It's like the VIPs need you to have a great business.
Yeah. Well, really, it's this is like maybe a great final thought is when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. So when you say yes to that client and doing something for them in a rush that they didn't get to you 2 weeks ago, and now it's on you to skip something with your family, to not get to be home in time to play with the kids and the kittens. When you say yes to that, you're saying, who are you saying no to? Who and what are you saying no to? That often is where it helps women be like, oh, wait a second. I don't want to say yes to this person that isn't even kind to me and doesn't even respect what I do and honor my, time with my family. And instead, I'm giving up something that's really, really important to me. And so just think about when you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, and just make sure you're conscious about what you're saying no to.
I love that. Some great thoughts, and really refreshing for our listener. Yes, listener, you do deserve to make as much as you want to make. You do deserve to have as much freedom, and you do deserve to have as much fun and enjoyment in your business, and you can do it, and many others are doing it, and it's okay that you're not there yet, because nobody's got it all figured out yet. It takes time, and it's a journey. And so that's why you're listening to the podcast, and why Natalie is doing the work that she's doing to help shepherd you through to a better place. Because certainly I don't think I've come across many bookkeepers, business owners, anyone that's done it alone. It's always a process, a journey. We never see the not so good days, right? We don't hear about those. We don't hear about the 20 years that it took you to get here.
Sure.
And so love this conversation. Now, you are speaking at the Successful Bookkeeper Summit in 2022 that's coming up this November. Tell us a little bit about the talk. You mentioned the title. I absolutely love what you're going to be talking about. I think our listeners are going to be so excited to come and listen to you at the summit.
I'm very excited. It's a training that is within my program. So it's a proprietary training that I created for my clients, and it's called the Automatic Yes Framework. So the idea behind it is that your business is an automatic yes. When you talk to an ideal client, it's an automatic yes, because you are just the exact right fit for them. And so we'll be going onto a deeper level, more of the similar topics that we talked about today, which is specializing and niching. And I'm going to give some very specific examples based on, the bookkeeping industry. So I'm really excited to adapt a bit for the audience that's going to be attending. And then we're really going to go more into mindset, because as we've talked about, there is a lot of mindset issues that are involved here. And I have a framework and I have a book called Reset Your Mindset, but I'm going to share my framework that I created I don't feel like we conquer mindset issues, we reset them, and you get faster at that process. So I'll share my framework for that as well. And then we're going to be talking a lot about relationship marketing. And it's interesting, Michael, women come to me and they'll be like, yeah, so I'll be like, how do you get your clients? I'm like, yeah, well, they're mostly referrals. As if it's a bad thing. And I say, yes, that's an amazing business. That is the best kind of business to have. That's what everybody's trying to create on social media are people to come work with them. And you already have a network that's helping you with that. So we'll talk about how this whole process helps you be more referable and how to stay connected with your network and to inform them if you're making a change of, the best people to refer you now, and how to do that in a way that feels really in alignment with you and your personality and your style. There is not just one right way to do any of this. And, I think a lot of the loudest voices out there, my friends and I call them the bro marketers. It's very like in your face, like do this now, be everywhere. And there's another way to do all of this that can feel in alignment with whatever your personality is, whether you're an introvert or extrovert. I'm actually an introvert. It surprises people because I do enjoy talking. I do enjoy speaking. I have a podcast, but I recharge by being alone, and I like a lot of alone time. So there's ways to grow your business that works for you. But first, let's get everyone with an automatic yes business. So that's what we'll be talking about.
That is very, very exciting. So that's the summit. It's in November. There'll be a link in the show notes. You can find it at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com/summit. And of course, it's free. So get your tickets and get ready to roll for that. And Natalie, I'd love for you to tell our listener, we talked about it a little bit, but I would love for you to share how you help people like our listener in their businesses, some of the programs that you have, and if they want to learn more about you and find you and learn more from you, how they would do that.
Thank you for that opportunity to share. The best way to connect with me is to listen to the BizChix podcast. And if you're listening now, I know you like to listen to podcasts. I do too. And so I would be so honored if you would pop over right now, wherever you're listening, and search for the BizChix podcast. And we spell Chix with an X here. So it's BizChix. And I should come up, and I have 8 years worth of content for you to check out. Wow. So the episodes are in the 500s, and there's a lot of I had a great compliment from a listener recently. She said it's like getting an MBA each week. So really deliver a lot of like wonderful content because I want all women to grow their businesses. So I think subscribing or following the podcast would be one of the best ways to connect. And I would love for people to also connect with me on LinkedIn, Natalie Eckdahl. And if you do, please send me a DM and say you heard this conversation with Michael and I. And I would love to hear a little bit about your business. I love to chat with people in the DMs on LinkedIn. And I've kind of abandoned every other platform. I love LinkedIn, and that's where I spend time and am creating community there. My clients are mostly there. And so it's become a really fun place. If you haven't been there in a while, they've made a lot of great changes. And so it's a great place to be. And then in terms of our programs, you can learn more about those at our website, BizChix.com. Again, it's BizChix.com. And we have two pillar programs. One is called Six Figures Lab, and one is called Leadership Lab. Six Figures Lab is a program I'm the lead coach in. And in that program, I help women who have an established business. So they've got to where their revenue's at 5 figures at least. They're making revenue at least $3,000 a month, $4,000 or $5,000, even better. So they're in the multi 5 figures, and they're desiring to grow their business to multi 6 figures, and so that they can pay themselves $8,000 to $10,000 a month. And we have a 1-year group coaching program that your people are welcome to stay longer in, and many do. We have a whole group of fabulous alumni in there as well. But we have coaching, we have trainings, and we have an accountability program where we set monthly, quarterly, and even weekly goals. And we have a database where we track those for clients and we keep up with them. And we have, when they're in the red zone, we check in with them a little deeper. So we're kind of monitoring our clients in a way that I think other programs may not be. And then Leadership Lab is for business owners that have a team of 5 or more. And that's led by Shelly Warren, who's our team and leadership coach. And she has a wealth of experience in leadership and helping people really add a layer of leadership in their business so that they are not, we don't want, if you have 5 or 7 or 10 people, they should not all be reporting to you. You need to add some leadership, another layer of leadership in there. And so she works with clients in our Leadership Lab group coaching program to do that. So we love supporting women entrepreneurs. It's such a joy to help women. Lots of men listen to, they message me as well. But our passion is for helping women really, take their businesses to a level that maybe they don't believe in themselves that they can do. And in community, it's so much easier. So in our communities, women are just encouraging each other. And I know, through your community that happens as well, where it's just so much easier when people are saying, oh, I've experienced that, try this, or you can do that, make that hard, do that hard call. Let's get rid of that client. And things are so much easier in community, I find.
I totally agree. And it sounds like you've got a wonderful program and a wonderful community and tons of great content. As we've heard today in this podcast, you really get it. You really are doing it. You're helping so many others do it. I think it's just a natural fit for our listener to just get over there to your podcast and hit subscribe.
Thank you, Michael. This has been so much fun. I really love, I told you this before we hit record, but I really love your podcast. I listen to a lot of podcasts and you're an incredible interviewer and you know how to take the conversation in a way that is answering the questions that the listener is asking. So thank you for all that you're doing as well.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you. And likewise to you. It's been a pleasure having you on the show. And I look forward to hearing you speak at the summit. And great topic. So much fun. So Natalie, thank you for being here and for your generosity on behalf of our listeners. Thanks for your generosity in coming and sharing all of your knowledge with us today.
It's been my honor. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks again, Natalie. Some great information, and I hope you, our listener, enjoyed part 2 of our interview. And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. To learn more about today's wonderful guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.